and girls and men, we suffer from these identity crises when we don't know who we are. And we have to remember that we are reflections of what we want the world to see. And we have to be consistent about that journey. There's this little song I used to sing, and I'm not a singer, so I won't sing to you. But it's like, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Right, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine. Where in Matthew 4:16, it states, let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Which means, essentially, we all come from the same family. We are all the salt of the earth. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And you need to realize that our identity is based on being the salt of the earth. Think about that, the salt of the earth. Now, whenever you're eating salt, sometimes it makes you thirsty, right? So that means that people should be thirsty in your presence and in my presence. And that means that you should want to know more about people who remind you of yourself and reflections of yourself. Now, sometimes you sit next to people. Have you ever walked in a room and it just didn't?
Sorry for what? Pity? I refuse to be sorry and colored at the same time. See, you don't have to color me sorry, sad, hurt, or bitter. Color me justice. Color me integrity, courage, minus the fear. Color me empathy, because I'm telling you I walked a similar journey. Colored girls of all shapes and sizes being distant because society said we shouldn't look or act like this. Emotional abuse. Who told you I had to fear what had already been ordained for me, and you can make it negative or positive, sour or sweet? This is my journey. Which means there was already a plan, but I accepted fear out of ignorance. Many girls walk a similar journey for a reason, created to build courage for multiple seasons, and because it was my journey, you thought I looked for pity. When all I wanted was empathy, let me know you're human. See, we try so hard to fit in, but try being ourselves and realize we're not even a shoe-in. Who are you fooling? See, you've been misjudged and skipped out on a couple of hugs. You feel no one understands you and never even tried to. See, they colored you. We are all colored girls shaded with negative words, and it only takes so many of those words to hurt. So now I'm left with the bitter taste of the words you say. I'm 5'8", and it colored me perfectly because I'm skinny. I'm 5'3". Enough love handles, but too much for someone to love me. Color in, she's too fat and too ugly. Or what about the girl colored weird because she's stuck in her own little world? Or what about the girl that everyone knows and she's colored popular because she rocks the latest clothes, but she cries herself to sleep, but no one really knows what goes on behind closed doors? Or what about the nerd? What about the nerd colored weird because she loves to learn? Burn the judgment. I don't want you to color me because I hate being the same color as society. I don't want to look like that. I love to look like this. Give me a blank canvas and see what I come up with. Ask me a question that honestly I would admit you can never color me perfect because I'm justice and I'm human just like you. So let's study the art and let's color something beautiful we can all hold on to. I'm your sister keeper, Justice.
The cycle. You need to break the cycle. You need to know your history. You need to know the mistakes I made so you won't make those mistakes. And that was very important to me because I knew that if I knew how to break the cycle, then I would be able to do it. But there are parts of our history that sometimes becomes a missing, and we don't know how to make that change, the way Michael Jackson said, make that change. My mom was so confident, and she pushed me, and she told me that I could do whatever I wanted to do. And she gave me a book. She gave me a diary. Remember those little diaries? Now they're called journals. But she gave me a diary at the time. It had a little lock in it. And I would write all the little things. They probably have computerized locks now with passcodes and all that. Well, at any rate, she allowed me to find my dreams. She told me to write it all out. So I kept writing it out, and as I continued to write it out, I realized I wanted to be a cycle breaker. So I went to school, and I went away to college, because that's what you're supposed to do. You are not supposed to stay at home. You're supposed to go away, okay? And hopefully not come back. I mean, come back to give back, but not come back to stay at home. You're supposed to keep growing. That's what we do, we grow. So I went away to college, and I encountered other races of women and men, okay? And all these wonderful people had perceptions of me as an African American. And some people, they had negative perceptions, and I had to show them something different because of what they may have saw on TV or in the news or wherever they read it in a book, I don't know. But they had to get to know me for me because, of course, I define me. The t-shirt wasn't established then, but it is now, and it's because I do know who I am. And I realized on my journey that I had to know my legacy, because people say if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So it's important that you realize what you stand for. So my college roommates learned a lot about me. I got friends that I have forever, just like the young ladies that you're sitting next to today. There are people in this room that you may have never interacted with. I don't know, maybe I heard somebody say, go to your homeroom, and somebody said, look at those people walking around. That's probably those freshmen. But guess what? The freshmen gonna be sophomores next year, and then the seniors gonna be gone, and then somebody else is gonna be running it in. That's how we roll. We keep growing. We don't stay. We keep moving. So we want to move together. So as we develop these relationships, just know that these relationships here, they can last an eternity. And just like I made that comment, also know that someone is always listening. Always. You used to think your parents had eyes in the back of their head, and they do. But someone's always listening. And they're quick to say, oh, that's such and such child, or she comes from that family. So remember, the reason why it's important to know your history is because it defines who you are. It defines who you are. So sisters, we all have the right to be different. What you have to decide is, are you going to be hateful? Are you going to promote ignorance, prejudice, classism, racism, or any other ism? Today, it's about allowing your light to shine in the midst of darkness so that you can own your now and define your tomorrow. I challenge you today to take a stand and walk away knowing that you have the key to writing your own history, singing your own song, dancing to your own beat, and beating to your own drum. You're creating a vision that everyone can see, regardless of race, color, or creed. Know that I am we. And if they don't know it, look them in the face and tell them what? I define me. Thank you.
Tracy, thank you so much for being with us today. We really, really appreciate it. Ladies, I think we can all testify that there's a lot that we can take away from today. Love will keep us together. Think of me, babe, whenever some sweet talking girl comes along, singing. Oh, that's a bit. Don't mess around, you just gotta be strong. Just stop, 'cause I really love you. Stop, I've been thinking of you. Look in my heart and let love keep us together.